All right, Rob, thanks to last week's 49-45 win over Sierra of Manteca, the team will welcome number 7 Yuba in on Friday. The good news is, the team, they never let up. They came back 3 times, ended up getting the victory. The not so good news, some turnovers, some defensive breakdowns, a little bit of a sluggish start overall. What were you able to take from that game?
Well, the first thing we took from it was, the positives were that, like you said, the kids were resilient. They kept their poise and never quit. I mean, had they quit in the third quarter, down 18, things weren't looking very good. It could have been a totally different ball game, and we're not doing this right now. But they have that fight and they got that desire in them. They're going to keep fighting, and so that was the positive thing from it. The young guys stepped up as well. It seems like every week we have somebody else that kind of rises to the challenge and gets put in the spotlight a little bit. And Kendrick Trotter had a heck of a game and played very well. And that's kind of what we needed at that time. But the negative part of it, we put the ball on the ground 8 times, and that's including quarterback center exchanges and snaps. But still, 8 times, we lose 4 of them. Thank goodness we recovered the last one, and that was the one that was the deciding factor in the end zone for us on the go-ahead score. So coverage breakdowns for sure, and putting the ball on the ground too many times. I mean, you can't, even if we put the ball on the ground 4 times, you're not expected to win ball games like that. So to let alone to do it 8 times and still come out with a win is a big, wipe at the brow, and let's get on to the next one as fast as we can and kind of forget what we did there, but get better at what we need to fix, but don't dwell on it too long.
Something I wanted to also talk about a little bit is, you talked to me about how, seedings are they can be easily misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, the number 1 seed in Division III lost last week to the number 16.
Mm-hmm.
The number 3 lost to the 14. Number 6 loses to 11. So, what can you make from all these, these seedings, and how important or how much weight, I guess, do they bear?
Well, with the section expanding into 16 teams per bracket and coming up with a qualifying system and then a seeding system, those numbers are just merely for who's away and who's at home and who goes where after that. They used to be predetermined. The third place in this league played the first place in this league, and so on and so forth. But then you had down years in some leagues, and some leagues were only getting 2 spots, and they had great teams that went deep, and their third and fourth place teams could have beat some of these other guys, but they were at home. So when they expanded and have to go to a seeding system, the first thing everybody looks at is the seed, and the first thing everybody looked at for us was, we're the 2 seed and they're the 15, and by far that was a much better team than a 15 seed would recognize, and even their record 6-4 was much better than people see on paper. And so we knew that going in. It's just hard to tell, 16, 17-year-old kids that, coming off of a monumental win with Central, and turn around and 2 days later have to get ready for, a playoff game in the first round, and everybody's good. I told them that, now that I think they believe me now this week, is that, once you get the playoffs, everybody's good. I mean, they're good for a reason. They're in the playoffs for a reason. So, it just, you look at the seeding numbers, and our guys, it was like a perfect storm. Guys thinking that, we had the monumental win Central, that was going to automatically put us at Sac State in the championship. I mean, you got 3 rounds to play before you even think about that stuff. So, 1 round at a time, and I think they've realized that now, and the intensity will be a lot different. I mean, we were flat in the first half by far, and it didn't get much better in the third quarter for a time. And then finally things started to click a little bit, and the tempo started to speed up, and we started making some stops. But you can't look at the seeds, you can't look at the record so much when you get to playoffs. Everybody's just like when you start league, you start playoffs, everybody's 0-0, and they're all playing with their backs to the wall. And that's the same thing UPC is going to do to us on Friday. You can't look at them being a 7 seed. You can't look at them being at 8-3. I mean, they compete in every game they've been in, and you look at what they do offensively and defensively, and you just kind of go from there. You can't go off on a tangent of just, they're a lower seed, they're automatically going to roll over.
You mentioned this week's opponent, Yuba City. They're coming off an emotional win of their own last week in handling their opponents. They're going to travel this week, 130 miles down to Patterson Community Stadium. What do you know about this team? And do you expect that long trip's going to have any kind of effect on their performance on the field?
I don't think the long road trip will affect them as much. They traveled down to Elk Grove, which is not it's not far, but they traveled and played Franklin of Elk Grove, and that's a big opponent for them. And so they've got that kind of road warrior type of mentality already, where they've learned to play on the road. They've learned to play tougher opponents on the road and that type of thing. So I don't know how much that's going to play into everything. It just, they'll probably, just like anybody else traveling a long distance, take off a little early, maybe stop halfway, or get in here a little early and get accustomed to the environment, because we've never hooked up before. And they are having a great year. John Etherburn's doing a great job getting those guys ready to go. And in the short time that he's been there, they're having some great success. And not hosting a game since 1980, playoff game since '87, and then going out there and doing it last Friday and then winning in the fashion that they did, says a lot about their program. The kids compete, the kids fight. They got good size, good speed. It's going to be a great matchup for us. I really, I think it's going to be a good game, because this is what you want in the playoffs. You don't want to get, in a mode where you have, something completely one-sided. And I think that this matchup here will really test, one, it's going to test our kids, their discipline with some of the option that they run. And it's also going to, test a little bit of their mettle, see if they can bounce back from a flat, opening maybe 3 quarters on Friday and come back and play inspired football, here at home.
Right. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned after the game against Sierra that some of the kids came to play, but some of the kids came in here thinking that, seeing the 15, it was going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
How have they responded at practice, and, what are some noticeable changes you've noticed this week?
Definitely responded in a positive way, and nobody is taking Yuba City lightly. I think, like I said, I think they learned their lesson. The first thing I told them on Monday when we got in a team meeting before practice was, look, everybody is good when you get to playoffs. I mean, yeah, you beat Central Catholic and had a monumental win. Congratulations. That's over now. You can't expect to show up, every Friday from here on out, and people look back and see what you did and say, well, we're not going to compete with you because you're so much better than we are. Everybody's going to compete. I mean, everybody has a chance. We're one game away from getting to a semifinal. So early on, our goals are, we want to be practicing on Thanksgiving. That's a goal that's at stake now. The winner of this game gets that opportunity. And also at 10-1, this win would put us at tied for the most wins in school history. And so this team has a lot going for it on Friday, and I think that they understand that, and they're not going to go in with the mentality that we had last Friday, where we're just going to come in. It's what's at our place. It's going to be a walk in the park. And they got to come in and compete, and they got to come out fired up. And so far, practice, that's what we've seen. The intensity's been there, and it's getting more and more every day as we build up to Friday, and that's what we want.